Good morning, students. Students, welcome back to the English class. And now let's continue our chapter number 9, Madam Rides the Bus. And in today's class, we will read how Wali manages to ride the bus and what was her experience during the bus journey. So now let's continue from page number 122. Her first journey, what careful, painstaking, elaborate plans she had to make for it. She had thriftily saved whatever stray coins came her way. Thriftily means spend money very carefully. Thriftily saved whatever stray coins came her way, resisting every temptation to buy peppermints, toys, balloons, and the like. And finally, she had saved a total of 60 paise. Now, it was her first bus journey, and she had to feel much pains to save such money. She had to save 60 paise for the bus journey, and to save this money she had controlled her temptations, her desires. She wanted to buy peppermints, toys, but she etc. But she didn't purchase them. She didn't buy them. She controlled herself and saved total of 60 paise. And for this she had to feel much pain. How difficult it had been, particularly that day at the village fair, but she had resolutely stifled a strong desire to ride the merry-go-round even though she had the money. Stifled means controlled with determination. Now, it had been very difficult to control herself on the day of village fair. When she was determined, she had a strong desire to ride the merry-go-round, but even though she controlled it, although she had money, she could spend this money to ride the merry-go-round, but she didn't spend it as she was very much determined. She wanted to have a bus ride and she had to save money for that. So on that day or at the village fair, she controlled herself. After she had enough money saved, her next problem was how to slip out of the house without her mother's knowledge. Now, she had saved enough money, but now the next problem was how to sneak out of the house without her mother's knowledge. As she wanted to ride the bus journey, she wanted to ride alone. She didn't want the company of anyone. So now she had to go out of the house. Now, how she managed, we will read now. But she managed this without too much difficulty. But she had managed it and also without difficulty. Every day after lunch, her mother would nap means short sleep, from about 1 to 4 or so. Now, it was the routine of the mother that after lunch she would sleep, she would have a nap in the afternoon, and she would sleep for 1 to 4 hours. Wali always used these hours for her excursions as she stood looking from the doorway of her house, or sometimes even ventured out into the village. Ventured out means went cautiously, courageously. Even every day she used these hours while spending her time standing at the front door and looking at the village streets. And also sometimes she moved out of the house without the knowledge of the mother, and she roamed in the village very courageously, and this way she spent her time. And today these same hours could be used for her first excursion outside the village, and now these same hours could be used by her while riding the bus outside the village. The bus rolled on, now cutting across a bare landscape. Now she is in the bus, she is riding the bus, and the bus is rolling on, cutting across a bare landscape means the bus is moving through the barren land, that is without any trees, or a few shrubs could be seen here or there. Now rushing through a tiny hamlet or past an odd wayside shop. Now bus was moving through a small settlement with a few houses. Hamlet means a small settlement with a few houses, or there could be only a single shop could be seen on the way. Sometimes the bus seemed on the point of gobbling up another vehicle that was coming towards them, or a pedestrian crossing the road. Now she also saw that sometime the bus was moving very fast and it seemed that it would gobble up another vehicle that was coming towards it. Gobble up means it will swallow up the another vehicle that was coming towards the bus, or it would swallow up a pedestrian that was crossing the road. But lo, somehow it passed on smoothly, leaving all obstacles safely behind. But even then, there were many obstacles on the way, but all the obstacles were left behind, and the bus moved very safely. Trees came running towards them but then stopped as the bus reached them and simply stood there helpless for a moment by the side of the road before rushing away in the other direction. While the bus was moving, she also noticed that it seemed the trees were also running towards them. Trees were running towards the bus, and when the bus reached to the trees, then it seemed that the trees also have stopped running. And also, when the bus started moving ahead, then it seemed that it had left behind the trees, and they are rushing away in the other direction. Suddenly, Wali clapped her hands with glee. Now she became very much happy and she started clapping her hands. A young cow, tail high in the air, was running very fast right in the middle of the road, right in front of the bus. She became very much happy because she saw a young cow. Its tail was high in the air, it was running at a very fast speed, it was running in the middle of the road and in front of the bus. The bus slowed to a crawl and the driver sounded his horn loudly again and again. Now the bus slowed to a crawl. Now the speed of the bus was reduced and the driver also started sounding the horn loudly again and again because the cow was moving ahead of the bus. But the more he honked, the more frightened the animal became and the faster it galloped, always right in front of the bus. But now, as the driver was honking, it was sounding the horn, but animal was becoming afraid, becoming frightened, and it started running very fastly and always right in the front of the bus. Somehow, this was very funny to Wali. She laughed and laughed until there were tears in her eyes. Now she started laughing so much, she laughed so much that the tears started shedding out of the eyes. Hey lady, haven't you laughed enough? Called the conductor. Better save some for tomorrow. Now, conductor called him as lady and he told her that she has laughed enough. Now she could save some laughing for tomorrow. At last, the cow moved off the road and soon the bus came to a railroad crossing. Now, the cow moved off the road and now the bus was to a railroad crossing. A speck of a train could be seen in the distance, growing bigger and bigger as it drew near. Now she saw a train, and at a distance, only a speck of train could be seen. But now, as they came near, it seemed that the train was also growing bigger and bigger. Then it rushed past the crossing gate with a tremendous roar and rattle. Then the train passed the crossing gate and it was making very much sound and shaking the bus, and the bus started shaking. Then the bus went on and passed the train station. Now the bus moved ahead and also it passed the train station. From there, it traversed the busy, well laid out shopping street and turning entered a wider thoroughfare. Thoroughfare means a busy public road. Now the bus moved towards the shopping street and then turned and then entered a very busy public road. Such big, bright looking shops. There she could see that the shops were very much big and they were also bright looking. What glittering displays of clothes and other merchandise. Merchandise means the things for the sale, such big crowds. Now she could see that there was a big crowd. The other things and the clothes were displaying and they were glittering, they were shining. Struck dumb with wonder, Wali gaped at everything. Now she was very much surprised. She was dumb with wonder while she was looking at the things. Then the bus stopped and everyone got off except Wali. Now the bus stopped and everyone boarded down the bus, but Wali was still inside the bus. Hey lady, said the conductor, aren't you ready to get off? This is as far as your 30 paise takes you. Now the conductor told her that you are not ready to get off the bus because you had given the fare to this place. Now the particular place has arrived and you have to get off the bus. No, Wali said, I am going back on this same bus. She took another 30 paise from her pocket and handed the coins to the conductor. But now Wali answered that she would not get off the bus as she has to go back to the village on the same bus, and also she had 30 paise for the return journey. She took out those 30 paise coins from the pocket and handed this money to the conductor. Why is something the matter? No, nothing's the matter. I just felt like having a bus ride, that's all. Now, conductor got confused and he asked Wali if there was any matter, something was wrong. But now she said that there is nothing is the matter, and she had come. She had come because only she wanted to enjoy the bus ride. Don't you want to have a look at the sights now that you are here? But now conductor told him that she could have a look at the sights as she had come to the town. All by myself. Oh, I would be much too afraid. But she said that she herself can't look at the sights as she could be very much afraid. Greatly amused by the girl's way of speaking, the conductor said, but you weren't afraid to come in the bus. But now the conductor was surprised, he was amused to hear the answer of the girl, Wali, because he feels that she wasn't much afraid to come in the bus and she had come alone. Nothing to be afraid of about that, she answered. But again, she became determined and she said that she was not afraid of about that. Well, then why not go to that stall over there and have something to drink? Nothing to be afraid of about that either. Then conductor told her that if she was not afraid of anything, then she could come down and she could also have something to drink. Oh no, I couldn't do that. Well then, let me bring you a cold drink. But now Wali said that she couldn't do that. But then conductor offered him that he said that he would bring a cold drink for her. No, I don't have enough money. Just give me my ticket, that's all. But she said she didn't have enough money to take that cold drink, and also she told the conductor to give her ticket. It will be my treat and not cost you anything. No, no, she said firmly, please no. Now, conductor told her that it would be a treat from him. It would not cost her anything, but she said very firmly that she did not want anything from conductor. The conductor shrugged and they waited until it was time for the bus to begin the return journey. Again, there weren't many passengers. Now, the conductor and Wali, while sitting in the bus, they waited for the time when it was the time for the bus to begin the return journey, and again there were not many passengers in the return journey. Won't your mother be looking for you? The conductor asked when he gave the girl her ticket. Now the conductor gave the girl her ticket, and while giving the ticket, he asked her if her mother would be looking for her. No, no, no one will be looking for me, she said. But now she said that no one would be waiting for her, no one would be looking for her. The bus started, and again there were the same wonderful sights. Now, again, on the return journey, there were the same wonderful sights that she had seen earlier while going to the town. Wali wasn't bored in the slightest and greeted everything with the same excitement she had felt the first time. Now, she didn't get bored looking at the same things again, but she was as excited as she was earlier, as she had felt the first time. But suddenly, she saw a young cow lying down by the roadside just where it had been struck by some fast moving vehicle. Now, on the return journey, she saw the young cow that was lying dead on the roadside, and she had been hit by some fast moving vehicle. Isn't that the same cow that ran in front of the bus on our trip to town? She asked the conductor. Now, while she saw the cow lying on the road, she asked the conductor, it seemed to her that it was the same cow that they had seen on their trip to the town. The conductor nodded, he shook his head, and she was overcome with sadness. The doctor said, the conductor said that that was the same cow that they had seen while they were going to the town, and now she was filled with sadness. She became sad. What had been a lovable, beautiful creature just a little while ago had now suddenly lost its charm and its life and looked so horrible, so frightening as it lay there, legs spread eagled means spread out, a fixed stare in its lifeless eyes, blood all over. Now she became very much sad, and now she had realized the reality of the life, reality of the death and life. Now she was feeling that it was earlier the cow was very lovable, it was a beautiful creature, and now suddenly it has lost its charm. It's looking very much horrible, it's frightening as the legs are also spread out, and also she could see in the lifeless eyes of the cow, and there was blood all over as it was the cow was struck with any vehicle, so that's why there was blood all over the road. The bus moved on. The memory of the dead cow haunted her. Haunted means now it was impossible for her to forget the cow. Dampening her enthusiasm, she no longer wanted to look out the window. Now she was so much sad because of the death of the cow. She was very much afraid. She could not forget the charming of the cow, and now she didn't want to look out of the window. She sat thus, glued to her seat, until the bus reached her village at 3:40. Now, for the whole time she remained glued to the seat. She did not stand on the seat, and now the bus reached her village at 3:40. She stood up and stretched herself. Then she turned to the conductor and said, "Well, sir, I hope to see you again." Now she stood up from the seat, and then she turned to the conductor and told him that she wanted to see him again. "Okay, madam," he answered her, smiling. Now again he called her by the name madam, and he smiled. "Whenever you feel like a bus ride, come and join us, and don't forget to bring your fare." Now conductor told her that whenever she would feel like a bus ride, then she could come and join them, and also told her not to forget to bring the fare. She laughed and jumped down from the bus, then away she went running straight for home. Now she laughed and she boarded down the bus, and then she went towards the home. When she entered her house, she found her mother awake and talking to one of Wali's aunts, the one from South Street. Now she reached home. Now she saw that her mother had woke up and she was talking to her one of her aunts, and the aunt was from the South Street. This aunt was a real chatterbox, never closing her mouth once she started talking. Now she tells her about her aunt that she was a very talkative lady. She was just like a chatterbox, and once she would start talking, then she would not stop. "And where have you been?" said her aunt when Wali came in. Now, as Wali entered the house, her aunt put her question where she was. She spoke very casually, not expecting a reply. But after putting this question, she didn't wait. She didn't wait the reply of the Wali, but she started talking. So Wali just smiled, and her mother and aunt went on with their conversation. So Wali didn't find it right to give the answer, so she smiled, and then her mother and aunt went on with their conversation. "Yes, you are right," her mother said. "So many things in our midst and in the world outside." Now her mother was answering to the question of her aunt, and she was saying that that was right, and there are many things in our midst and in the world outside. How can we possible know about everything? And it is not possible to know about everything, and even when we do know about something, we often can't understand it completely, can't we? Now mother was saying that there are something that is not possible to know about everything, but when we know about something, but it is not possible that we will understand it completely. "Oh yes," breathed Wali. "What?" asked her mother. "What's that you say?" Now Wali also answered her mother, as her mother was saying that there are some things that we understand, but we don't understand them completely. Then Wali also said that she was right, but then mother was shocked while hearing this answer. Then she put the question to Wali what she was saying. "Oh," said Wali, "I was just agreeing with what you said about things happening without our knowledge." Now Wali responded that she was also agreed with her mother that there are something happening around us but without our knowledge. Just a chit of girl, she is, said her aunt. And yet look how she pokes her nose into our conversation just as though she were a grown lady. But now her aunt didn't like the behavior of the Wali. She said that she was poking her nose into their conversation and she was feeling that she has a grown lady. Wali smiled to herself. Now Wali smiled. She didn't want them to understand her smile. But she didn't want that anybody would understand why she was smiling. Means she didn't want that her mother and her aunt would understand why she was smiling. But then there wasn't much chance of that was there. But again there wasn't a chance to understand their smiling as her mother and her aunt were busy in their talking. Now she was smiling because she was also agreeing with her mother as her mother was saying that something is happening around us but without our knowledge. Yes, it was right. She smiled because she was also coming from the bus journey and without the knowledge of the mother. So that's why she was smiling and she didn't want her mother to know about her bus journey. So, students, this is all about the chapter. I hope you have understood. Okay, students, goodbye and have a nice day.